Hello, 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 and welcome to the Cheap Seats. This is your Premier League show where we discuss all things in the Premier League: Manchester United, Chelsea, Spurs are on top of the log, but we're not going to talk about them. But we do that on a weekly basis. Myself and Paul.
Correct.
I've got AB. The team's here slightly short. We miss Cyrus and Wahid. But yeah, maybe we might put ZH on the fraud list to bring Cyrus back. But gents, how are you doing?
All good on my side. How you doing, Paul?
How does it feel to be top of the log?
I mean, I wake up with the birds singing a little bit louder, the sun shines a little bit brighter. You know, things are good. Nothing can get me wrong, get me down. It's a good time to be alive.
Do you know when the last time Spurs was a top of the log?
It doesn't matter because we're top of the log now. I don't care about the past. I care about the future.
Look, take it from some of us, and AB will tell you, those who've enjoyed being on top of the league for large parts of the season or it's pretty nice. It's very nice. AB, how you doing?
Oh no, I'm good. I mean, United are on top of the log as well.
Which log?
In the Champions League in our group.
But you haven't qualified yet.
So you have a 25% chance of being up top, so it's
no, it's fine. I'm going to take what I can get, guys. Just let me.
Okay. Before we go in, everybody, please like, subscribe, and follow us and interact with us on these different platforms. One World Sports Radio, but most importantly, that bottom one there, the YouTube one. Please like and subscribe to the channel. Let's share it as widely as possible. Maybe the algorithm will pick it up. Please do that as much as possible. We've been talking about algorithms a lot, and AB's gone and figured out his algorithms for Manchester United. He's going to tell us later on today. But the most important thing for today, guys, is Fraud Watch. We have been hoodwinked by people who've promised us many things and they're not delivering. One of those players for me, from an Arsenal perspective, is Willian. We're promised experience. We're promised Premier League now, goals, free kicks. All I've received from Willian is 2 assists, and that was against Fulham and Craven Cottage first week. I am not happy. Last season, Willian scored 13 goals, and he had 7 assists. Can I get something? I don't know what's going on. He's and you can't say he's being played out of position. He's being played on the right or the left, but he's giving us things. That was my hoodwink. AB, I think a certain Paul Pogba is a fraud for you this season, or after the World Cup. Let's say that.
Where do I begin with Paul Pogba? So, I mean, we've at end talked about his goals and assists contribution, as well as chances created, passing completion, and all of that. And that's sort of par with Juventus. I have 2 problems with that. One being Juve play in a fairly easier league. So, that kind of skews information towards, his performance at United is not that bad. But the other problem that I have with it, so the counter to my own one argument, it's ridiculous. This is where United fans are, is that was a very young Paul Pogba. That was a very inexperienced, a very raw Paul Pogba. Now we're seeing what should be a complete midfielder sort of player who isn't quite stepping up at the level you would expect from a £90 million player. And then the other problem that I have is, how weak is Paul's ankle? Because he's had ankle problems for cheapest, who knows how long. And is it really an ankle problem, or is it maybe I actually don't want to be here anymore? And that's okay if you don't want to be here, but let's call this spade a spade and let's draw a line in the sand and move on from there. And I don't think we know what it is right now.
Okay. Are there any other fraudy players at Manchester United that you would have to put on the watch?
Man, why are we?
Can you call the starting 11? Can you call the starting 11?
All of them. Fraud.
From top to bottom.
I mean, we were all auditors in some of the days, and if you were auditing Manchester United, the amount of fraud you'd find with that club, guys. ISA 240 considerations would be big. So I mean, let's start with. Let me go numerical order first. So 1 is fine. 2, Victor Lindelof.
Fraud.
Yeah, I mean, he's okay.
Unless you want to say you got what you paid for. but I don't think that's what you.
No, look, I mean, in today's market, that's probably worth a £35 million centre back. Eric Bailly is great when it comes to tackling his own players. Phil Jones, who was supposed to be a future captain, fraud. I'm not going to talk about Harry Maguire. I feel like
he's already had enough problems with the law. Don't involve Maguire.
No.
He doesn't need.
We've talked about number 6, number 7, Edinson Cavani, who I'll speak about more later. It's too early to count. Juan Mata has proved a lot of value for what we signed him for. That's 8. Number 9, Anthony Martial. He's 23, so that's fine.
Oh wait! I'm calling that. 40. I'm calling that.
Yeah,
40.
I've got a lot to say about Martial. Martial is not world class.
We'll talk about that.
Should not be leading the line. We'll talk about it.
Well, he didn't lead the line.
Let's talk about him now. And also, there was a tweet this week that said Martial is not Martial. Rashford is the food bank Barini. So
guys.
I don't want to put Marcus Rashford on the fraud watch because he's done so much for the community. But Martial, on the other hand, not giving out food. He's not making people read.
He scored 20 goals last season, 23 goals. What more do you want?
And we're 8 games into the season. How much has he provided?
He's done 0 this season.
This season's a little bit different. Okay, we won't. He's got 2 goals and 3 assists from 9 games. That's not bad, but it's not what we expect. But I wouldn't say
it's not what you deserve from your front man at Man United. You cannot say that's even close to what you would demand.
100% agree. Okay, so that's number 9. Number 10,
okay, let me
Rashford again scored.
Before we go through the entire Man United squad, we'll put Martial on fraud watch in the next episode if he doesn't score goals. So he's on like a checklist on the side, but we'll leave him out there.
We'll put him on a watch list, is what you're saying.
Because we paid him a lot of money. We paid Aubameyang a lot of money, and he's not doing anything. And to a certain extent, that fraud watch needs to be sent to Arteta because Aubameyang on the left. But he scored 20 goals from the left, so I don't understand what's going on. But we won't do that. Dean, do you have any frauds? I know you'll tell me Spurs has got no frauds, but we'll say Dele Alli, but he's not playing enough for us to even put him on a fraud watch list. Who are the frauds this season that you have seen across the league?
Well, look, if you think about frauds, and it's quite easy to go to the bottom teams in the league and start picking out guys, and because it's hard to pick out a fraud from the top performing guys. But I'm going to have it's kind of a big call, but to me, Kevin De Bruyne is not pulling what he should be pulling, and he's not doing what he should be doing. And for me, he may not be the biggest fraud, but I think we were all expecting a lot more from De Bruyne this season, especially from what he did last. And Sterling. Yeah. There's a lot of them in that City squad, but I think especially given the performance that, Spurs shut out Manchester City superbly. So, again, that's a win on Spurs' side. So you can't do that's. I give him credit there.
You can play all your games in Manchester.
Fact, but a big call. I mentioned it a few episodes ago as well. I just don't see De Bruyne doing what De Bruyne is supposed to be doing. He's not pulling strings. He's not being creative. He looks so frustrated that everyone was expecting De Bruyne to just fly, and he's just not doing it right now. And from a City perspective, we spoke about it, like they're missing that creativity. David Silva's not there. So where's it going to come from? De Bruyne, you thought would step up, and he did it last season. He should be able to do it again. It's just not doing it. And for me, there's a big call, but for me, he's definitely one of the bigger ones that I've been most disappointed with this season.
My end, it's Raheem Sterling. I feel as though he's just a shadow of himself. And that's the disappointing part about it. I think I look at him and I'm like, dude, every season you've done better than what you've done before, and all of a sudden it's not working. But we know Pep rotation. We know that Pep's now living in rent-free in, I think, Arteta's head, or Arteta's living rent-free in Pep's head. It seems like it's not working. It's like you need to combine them together, and then they'll win the Premier League. Outside of that, they just two managers who will struggle. The other player that I wanted to put in, from a Liverpool perspective, Trent Alexander-Arnold, as a fraud watch. Yes, he got injured just before. But he's the one guy I expected a lot more. I think this season everyone realized that Trent Alexander-Arnold can't defend. That was the one thing for me. Everyone was talking about how great he is, golden boy, yes, yeah, FIFA, whatever it is. He wins championships and he won the champ. But then you look at him this season, you're like, dude, can you backtrack? Can you stick a foot in? So for me, that was very fraudy. Just it's hard for me to kick a man when he's down, when he's injured. But that was my one from Liverpool.
But I think people knew that he couldn't defend last season. But he had people that could back him up. Like Virgil was there, and he was the backup that was there, and he would sweep up. And everyone knew Trent was just good for getting those balls up. He would run up the right, cross all the way to the other side, pass to Robertson, and it was amazing football because he had people at the back that could protect him. Now that's gone, and okay, he's injured now. But you kind of go, okay, so your frailties are you're not this amazing person that everyone thought you were. You actually are just. You're more of an attacking player than you are of a defender. So I agree with you, though. I do agree with you.
The other fraud that I was talking about, and Everton needs to get rid of him in January, is Jordan Pickford.
He's
still England's number one.
He is the
one. But a good thing Nick Pope's back. But my word, Jordan Pickford is going to be he is okay. Now I think he's played the past few games, but he's part of the reason why Everton are stuttering. But it's just a very poor thing for someone who's going to be playing at the Euro next year.
I mean, to be fair to Everton, they did try to get a replacement in, and it just wasn't happening. And I think they've got like two other keepers who are unknowns. No Premier League experience.
They played Olsen the other day, who's like the Swedish coach, the Swedish goalkeeper. He played in what is it, against France in the Nations League. He played behind Lindelof.
Yeah, he did.
That's what I was like.
That's any keeper who plays behind Lindelof is worried half the time. So.
Dude, it's better that way. We let go. Arsenal have the biggest issue because we let go. We had two keepers to pick from. We picked the wrong one. We sold them for a lot of money, which was great. And then we go and we buy some model who doesn't even start in Europa League. So, I think like Alex Runason, like guys, I feel so bad for the guy, but that's one of those issues. I wanted to put Sean Dyche on the fraud list because he made me believe that he can make anything work with no money. Now all of a sudden, I'm looking at this Burnley team going, but Sean, dude, for 4 years you've been punching above your weight. All of a sudden now, guys can't score goals. Ben Mee looks like a shadow of himself. He could be on the fraud list.
Sure.
It's unbelievable. Bottom of the lot.
Yeah, but he's also just human, though. I mean, he's done it so many times. There's only so much a man can actually do, Like, at what point does Burnley go, enough? Like, this isn't sustainable. We can't give the man £1 million a season to go and buy a fifth-string midfielder in Dale Stevens, and we expect to stay up. Like, at what point does the supporters of Burnley love Sean Dyche? Everyone knows that, right?
Yeah.
At what point do you just say, as Sean Dyche, I deserve more? Like, at what point do you just say, there's no ways? Like, I've done everything I can at this club, and he's a good coach. And I've mentioned it before. I don't think he's a top 6 coach. I don't think he's a Premier League winning coach, but he deserves more than what he's getting at Burnley, especially this season.
No, I agree with you. It's that Burnley board really hurts me. Burnley and Newcastle are two teams we want new ownership in. I don't understand how Newcastle hasn't been able to be sold. Okay, Mike Ashley, we kind of know.
Yeah.
But they really need new ownership. I think last thing that I'd want to talk about from a fraud watch perspective, but the other way, David Moyes is acting like he's an imposter. He's living in someone else's. He's got the same body, but someone else is playing that is coaching that West Ham team. They've played like incredibly well. Normally, my fraud watch list would be packed with West Ham players because they promise and severely under deliver. Is there anybody else that you guys have on your list?
So I would bring up someone who we forgot about, but because his replacement has done so well, and I'd say Kepa. And I think we can all agree that Kepa was a massive fraud.
Yeah.
But
They want their money back.
luckily,
The poor guys won't even get their money back.
they're not going to get anything back. I don't. Sure, who wants to touch Kepa? I don't know. Maybe Arsenal want Kepa. Arsenal like taking Chelsea rejects.
No. We're going to talk about this in FPL. But Mendy has come in from nobody. Obviously, we know his story. He nearly never made it. And 5 games in the Premier League, 4 clean sheets. Yes, you can say Thiago Silva's in front of him and everything else, but for the fact that he's made Chelsea look very good, that's something that you need to praise.
Did you see that save he made? He had a save and then he flicked it back with his leg and then he caught it. That was amazing.
Yes, because he's an African. That's what people do. You know, have you seen African goalkeepers? There's this DRC goalkeeper who looks like slightly. He's not built like a goalkeeper, but the man can make saves out of. Oh my word, he can. Yeah, but Dean, what's your fraud watch name?
So, links to what I was saying earlier. It's easier to pick out frauds from the bottom of the lot, but I think there's 2 names that we were really expecting to maybe not, excel amazingly, but expecting a bit more. One of them, Mitrovic at Fulham.
Oh, yes.
For me, you kind of think top scorer last season championship. You weren't expecting him to become amazing, but you were expecting a little bit more from the guy. Especially, you look at that Fulham side. I mean, I think I could go there and I could be a star of that team at the moment. You don't need to be amazing at Fulham to be a standout star. And everyone was expecting it from him. And it just hasn't. I mean, they've got Lookman now, who you also think, look,
he's a fraud. I'm sorry.
He looks good. But he is a fraud. He is. And the other one that I want to throw out there is not a player, but coach Chris Wilder. Sheffield everyone expected a bit more. And
whoever the Sheffield person is responsible for transfers needs to get fired. I don't understand how they paid so much for Ian Brewster. I'm sorry. That amount of money that you spent, you should be getting a striker who's going to get you 15 goals a season. Ian Brewster's not even going to get you 5. He'd be lucky to get 5. But he's not a fraud. He's a young player. We'll have to give him time. But Chris Wilder, my word. Oh, no, that's just bad.
That Sheffield team is an absolute shambles at the moment. Like an absolute shambles. You look at Ramsdale, Ramsdale wasn't terrible at Bournemouth, but the man's got no chance. Absolutely no chance at that team.
Here's the thing: in a market where Martinez was still the contract situation was still open, going to get Ramsdale just didn't make a lot more sense. No. And also, you could have gone elsewhere in Europe. I would have just gone and looked for someone else. But
Sheffield could have gotten Romero on a loan, 100%. But
another fraud sitting on the bench, playing PS5 and eating Manchester United money.
I mean, you take what you get, eh? You take what you get. You take what you get.
Very true. True. Okay, guys, let's move on to the next topic for today. What's going on at Liverpool? Everyone last week was talking about an injury crisis, 6 players out, the whole defense gone. All of a sudden, Robertson's back playing. I don't know if it was COVID or if it was just an ankle injury. We saw Fabinho training in a bulletproof vest, thinking that he wasn't going to play. Then he comes in, didn't get shot, but they clearly did something. The only person missing were Van Dijk and our friend, Van Dijk, Gomez, and Trent Alexander-Arnold. But James Milner seems to be the most versatile player in the league. 17 seasons, he's still playing, whatever. Has he ever played goalkeeper before?
They should give him a go. They should 100% give it a go. And what's the worst that can happen at the moment?
But how is it that Jurgen Klopp is managed? And then they played Leicester and they beat them, and they dominated them. How did they manage that? I just cannot believe.
I watched 20 minutes of that game, I turned it on and I was expecting Leicester to run rampant and I was going to enjoy every moment of it. And within that first 20 minutes, you could just see that Liverpool were turning it on. Don't know how, because I was more fascinated in the team sheet than the actual game, first of all, just to see who they're going to play. And then you see what they were doing. I mean, the guys are just, and Leicester, Leicester were top of the league, like they're a proper squad. They're not rubbish team. They got manhandled by Liverpool. And you can almost say it's a Liverpool C team almost, like they still had Mane, they still had Jota, but there was no Van Dijk, there was no Gomez, there was no Salah, there was no Trent Alexander, So, no Thiago, where are they finding these guys? And I think it also takes us back to what Wahid said, I can't remember when, but a few episodes ago, where it's almost like Klopp has got those boys believing in themselves so much that it doesn't matter who goes out. They believe they are the next Ballon d'Or winner, and they can go out and they can just dominate anyone, which I think everyone is jealous of. Every single supporter is jealous of that Liverpool squad and what Klopp can get those players to do.
Yeah, and that's a hallmark of a great team. We've seen this throughout the years with the Chelsea teams, with the Arsenal teams, the United teams. You've got any team that wins, Premier League or a major trophy like the Champions League always has that sense of confidence and arrogance about them, and that gives you that belief that no matter how hopeless you are in a situation, you can go out there and conquer whatever it is. And it's about breaking through that first barrier and, winning that Champions League. And then, that was amazing for Klopp. And then winning that Premier League. And then you've got that spine of your team that just, has this belief and resilience that they'll just go out there.
That spine was decimated. Yeah, well, that's the problem. That spine was no Jordan Henderson, no Mo Salah, no.
Yeah, but Wijnaldum's there. Fabinho's there. No, it's Fabinho, it's Wijnaldum, it's Milner. There's characters in that team, and that's something that's very jealous. And you can't really buy that. That just comes through the natural order of things. It's this resilience and never say die attitude of the characters in the dressing room who will not take second best.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well, if you've got guys like Paul Pogba and Xhaka on your team, there's no character. There isn't any. There's nothing. It's what it is. I don't know which Spurs player, but the whole Spurs group weren't a lot of characters. We saw that in that series that happened.
Danny
hey, but wait, question: is all or nothing coming for this season? Please tell me it is. I want to see in this all or nothing because I think they've reached that level. The level of a-holes that everyone was talking about.
Don't be jealous, Paul. Don't be jealous. Just because we've got an Amazon documentary about us. You want the same. You want a Showmax. You couldn't even get a Showmax documentary about us.
I don't want the documentary about Arsenal because, guys, if it's on Showmax, oh no. But yeah, I don't want to document what's happening at Arsenal. AB, you had a problem this week. Actually, you've had a problem all season. Your team tend to be zebra-like in their goal scoring. They just can't find the spot. They're all attacking herds, defending herds. That type of situation. What's going on with Manchester United? It's a struggle. Have you guys lost your identity? Because you guys probably have, from on paper, a top 4 squad. And the reason why I say top 4 is because I have to add Spurs in, because what Spurs did this season, this window has set them up to pretty much even make an attack on the league. But you even did slides, and so I want to ask you to take us through what you think has gone wrong, and then we'll nitpick it and tear it apart.
So, there was an interesting question raised to Ollie and about Ollie as to does he know what his identity is? And, it's a very interesting question. And I think I saw it on Twitter where he was talking and he actually just said United have a lot of fast players and we like to attack a lot. So I started to break it down and I was like, okay, cool. What would I do if I was Ollie? And sometimes it's easier to just look into, a team when you're not involved. And last night's game gave me a good little opportunity to do that. And going into the game, we were expected to dominate. So I was like, cool, what is our formation? This is what it was. We had that attacking foursome of Martial on the left, Cavani up front, Rashford on the right, and Bruno in that number 10 role where he was free. You had Donny as a sort of number 8 who could, both attack and defend whenever he needed. And you had Fred who would sit a lot, and then you've got your back four with Telles instead of Shaw. And I put Pogba on the bench there just because I was thinking, you know what, based on Donny's performance last night, I think he should be the resident number 8. And this is a fairly straightforward formation where United want to kill the game off quickly and early, which is what they sort of did last night, where you got 2 goals in the space of 25 minutes, you stunned the opposition, and we saw this really well towards the end of the campaign last season, being this year, where United would get the quick early goals and then take a breather, sit back and not concede, or try and not concede as much. And this worked really well last night, but there was defensive frailties. As we saw where Istanbul started hitting the post, they got a very great goal from a free kick. And this United defense is very weak. And that's possibly because of a player like Fred, who, as what he calls him, Bambi on ice. Fred gives the ball away too much, very easily in bad positions. But, when you're playing against the Sheffields or the West Broms, this for me is the perfect sort of formation, provided that Cavani plays like he did last night in every single game. We don't know, as a 33-year-old, can he be that number 9 who works as hard as anyone on the field? Because last night that guy didn't stop running, and it was great to see, and that's exactly what you needed. But we don't know about his fitness. And then if we go into the second formation, and this is unfortunately where we know United aren't going to be the team to go out and dominate. In fact, I think this is possibly the most dangerous formation we can actually put onto the field.
Did you call the formation expected to be dominated?
Yeah,
this
100%.
is your worst formation. Is that what you're saying?
So, no. So this is when we're going to go and play teams like Spurs, like Chelsea, like Arsenal.
Okay.
Any big 6 sort of team.
Whoa. To Arsenal.
Or any historical, I mean, the Evertons, the Leicesters. This is where you have you're coming up against a formidable opponent, and you have to protect your defense of Matic and Lindelof. And that's why I put, Maguire and Lindelof. That's why I put Matic there as a guy to sit in front of those defenders and get the ball, to the midfield as quick as possible. I also believe United are more dangerous on the counter-attack than any other sort of holding the ball, having a possession game. United are absolutely terrifying on the counter-attack. And that's because you have guys like Rashford, Martial, Bruno, Greenwood when he's on, who can break free and actually hurt teams. And this is where United was successful last season when they beat the likes of Chelsea. They beat Spurs on the counter. They beat Arsenal, City on the counter. They didn't beat Liverpool, but very few teams managed to beat them. So this is where I felt like Oli missed a trick against Arsenal, where he had success in the Leipzig game, in the PSG game, by playing with wing backs. He had a third centre back. I'd prefer Matic to sit. He had Shaw as a third centre back. But having those 2 quick guys up front. This is what I think we should be going into bigger games with. So having the identity of focusing purely on counter-attack football, which is nothing new to Man United. United have always had counter-attack football engraved in the DNA. And then the 50-50, the next formation, the sort of the standard formation against your mid-table teams is your normal your 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1, whatever you want to call it.
This formation doesn't work. This formation's a fraud.
This formation's a fraud. So let's discuss this.
So where's Max Sauce?
So what's wrong with?
Where's Max Sauce?
So
he's the
I don't know if Max Sauce
passion merchant of Man United. Merchant.
Take Van de Beek out and put in Max Sauce. We want Max.
But then you.
We want Max Sauce and Luke Shaw in the team. That's
all of us. Everyone in the Premier League wants Max Sauce and
so Shaw's on the bench.
Single United squad.
Shaw's on the bench waiting for his Uber Eats. Max Sauce, I don't think starts for me in United's best match day sort of squad. Look, I love Scott McTominay. I love what he brings, but barring injuries, there's too much quality in United's midfield. I mean, you can't see Paul Pogba's name on any of these starting lineups, yet he won a World Cup 2 years ago.
That's because you guys have. I'm not gonna talk about Paul Pogba, but anyway.
Exactly, and for me, the reason why we've been so successful in the Champions League against some great teams, PSG finalists last year, got the biggest names in the world. We played with the 5 at the back, with the wing backs and the 2 strikers up front. Leipzig were currently top of the Bundesliga at the time, same sort of formation. Of course, we screwed it up against Istanbul, but we made amends now. And United are actually in a very, hopefully, good position to qualify. But I feel like the identity of United needs to be embrace the counter-attack, embrace the quick players, and try and protect this defense. And if that does mean letting Paul Pogba sit on the bench in favor of Donny van der Beek, then let's do that. But don't not play Donny. He is so critical to formations 1 and 3 when you do not have a player like Matic who can help out these centre-backs.
And then where's Mata too? And all of
Juan
this.
Mata should not be starting.
Just benched.
He
shouldn't be starting.
Yeah.
Okay.
He shouldn't be starting.
Okay, thanks for that thesis, AB. Let's now pick this apart. Yesterday you played Istanbul Başakşehir.
Yeah.
You should be beating them with any formation. I'm sorry. A team that has
100%.
Rafael at right back. Sorry, dude. No, come on.
Leave Rafael.
Come on.
Hey,
No.
leave Rafael alone.
Well, dude, you lost to them when you couldn't see past the orange.
Yeah.
If you look at this first one, right? Man, yes, Donny van der. This leaves you very open in the midfield, in the midfield area.
Yeah.
You get left very open because yes, Fred does the work defensively, but you need one of your other, and that's been the problem with Paul Pogba. Paul Pogba's willingness to come back and defend and cover left back or even right back, depending on which side of the midfield, hasn't been there. And that's largely because he's stuck between wanting to be where Bruno and the front 4 are, and you need to give him equal opportunities rather than having him sit as a traditional 6 or even a traditional 6 covering everybody else.
Yeah.
I'd rather have McTominay in this position if you're going to try and dominate other teams because you can attack with this front 4. Spurs does it very well, but Spurs if Mourinho does something shrewd over the next transfer window, is he'd probably want to get Paul Pogba to complete that midfield 3. And he'd have Højbjerg, Ndombele, and Pogba. I don't know who's the other side of that midfield 3, but
Is Jose and Paul talking?
No, but
I would not. Because they must never speak.
No, but I think Paul Pogba would work well at Spurs. I honestly think so because he plays in a midfield 3. Drop Bruno Fernandes flatter and then you'd be fine. But obviously you need Bruno to score goals. So this doesn't work in essence. But that's my Paul Pogba situation. Yeah, but in the Champions League, everyone's very open, AB. So like you need to be open. This one is just too defensive. I'd rather play. This is just too defensive, even against bigger teams. It's just too defensive. No, man. No. I'd rather take McTominay out and have Matic there, and then have one other attacking player, and you sit with a 6 and a 4.
Okay.
Yeah, I think this is just you conceding. No, not goals, but conceding the fact that you're not good enough, which probably is what Manchester United should be doing right now. I don't know. But
this is my
try anything. Try anything.
This is my rope.
Whatever you're doing is not working.
Just hold and then wait. Look, it's not working in the Premier League.
It's 100% not.
But this one, the third one's the laughable one.
Guys.
No. Not really. Look, I love Donny van der Beek, but I think Donny van der Beek should be playing higher up at 10. I love the fact that Wahid spoke about that. Donny is probably the guy who comes off the bench for Fernandes at the 10. Or if you want an extra body up front, Donny can play there. But the thing about Donny is that if you want to play this formation, I'd rather have Matic playing there instead of Fred. I think Matic is a lot slower from a midfield perspective, from a defensive perspective, but he still does his job. Attacking wise, he's the link-up play. Bambi on ice can't pass to save his life.
Yesterday showed.
But that's me. That's my 2 cents.
Okay. Let me jump in. Okay.
Yes.
We can all attest on this show that Ole has no game plan. He basically sends the guys on the field and says, hey guys, score a goal.
Yeah.
Just go. Like, score a goal. Please score a goal. That's what he does, okay? Man doesn't have an identity. So my thing is, please try something new in the Premier League. Fine as working in the Champions League. Try something new in the Premier League. And this is what I was thinking today, like what would be something new that they should try and something that I think could work, all right? So hear me out and you can pick holes wherever you think, okay? I think United must go 3-5-2, okay? And these are the players I think. You go Lindelof, Maguire, Twanzebe, however you pronounce his name, okay?
Yeah, Axel,
back to 3, okay?
Cool.
Wing backs, you go Tellez and Wan-Bissaka, okay? You have Matic holding, okay? Okay, so basically you've got your solid back four. Wherever that's coming back, Matic stays up front and he just sweeps whatever's coming back. He just collects it and he tries to redistribute. You've got the 3 at the back. You've got Maguire and you've got Lindelof they're used to playing, and you've got Axel he needs to be developed because I think he is really one for the future, and I think he can do well in that system because he's protected enough, right? Because Bissaka and Tellez can both defend, so if they need to, they can come back.
Yeah.
The thing with the attacking 4 is you leave Bruno in and you leave Rashford in, okay? I don't want to see it because I think it could work, but if you have Cavani as a person that's who they aim at. You have a marksman, you have someone almost like a Giroud that Cavani is the person that you're aiming at. And if that's not working, you have Rashford that's just going to run through defenses like we know he can. He can cause problems with his pace, with his skill. And Cavani's the man that you keep there that can score the goals. Bruno stays in his normal role where he can stay. And honestly, I think you put Pogba next to Bruno or you put Donny next to Bruno. Those are the guys you want to see. Because I think in that system...
Pogba or Donny like a left wide role.
Yeah, exactly. You play them there. You have Bruno still doing Bruno things. Honestly, Martial needs to get away from that team. He's not doing what he needs to be doing. Martial needs to run away. And Mourinho called it a while ago when he was coach. And everything he said has come true, right? Martial shouldn't be there. Fine, he's young and he can do what he wants to do. But I don't think he should be the goal scorer or leading the line or anything near that squad. And also, you've got the player that can do it now. Like, you've got Cavani for a reason. Aim at him. Let Bissaka throw in those crosses. Let Tellez try. Like, there's nothing to lose. And even if he holds it up and, lays it off to Rashford, lays it off to Bruno, at least there's something different,
Yep.
At least there, you're also looking at developing your youngsters. And at the moment, it's a system that could work. And we've seen it work for other teams. Poch used that 3-5-2 amazingly. So in terms of the players that I would expect to see, that's who I agree. Mata shouldn't be starting. He shouldn't be anywhere near there. And you don't need, if you've got 3 at the back and you've got Lindelof, Maguire, and you've got Axel, you just need Matic to do that sweeper that's just going to try and collect everything. We see Højbjerg doing it. Kante does it supremely. That even if they try, on the attack, if the opposing team gets the ball and tries to counter or anything, you need that man that's going to be stuck to them like glue, which fine, Matic is old and, his pace is a bit slow, but he needs to be there and he can then redistribute and then you can go. So there's nothing to lose. So that's what I think United should do. Probably there's a lot of holes because I don't really want them to do it. But
there. I think it makes sense. I'm just very wary of playing 3 at the back because my team can't score goals because they really are held back. I don't know how, but yeah. But we left the man at home.
But with the 3 at the back, United are perfectly designed for it because of the counter-attacking strength. And you need
exactly
to
like you said, yeah.
the problem that I see just with that, well, two problems is Cavani, can we rely on him? Is he fully fit? Which, I mean, we don't know. And then Paul Pogba. Like, I would love to put Paul Pogba in that sort of left role, but does Paul want to play?
No.
Does he want to be there? We don't know.
Against Arsenal, he didn't want to be on the wing. He hated it. He doesn't want to be there.
Yeah.
Okay, let's wrap it up. Thanks, gents. Now let's move on to our Fantasy Premier League portion of the show for the last 10, 20, 15, 20 minutes. Remember, you can interact with us on these various platforms. Remember that YouTube subscribe button, please, there. This week, we're trying a new series going into Christmas. We're going through different teams, 5 teams a week, and we're trying to pick out that one player that we think is either a bargain or a must-have in your side. So starting off, we're going alphabetically. So, hey, top of the log, Arsenal. Looking at this team, I know you don't like looking at Arsenal players. Who's the one player that you think people should be considering having in their FPL side?
So, as I've mentioned before, I've never had an Arsenal player in my FPL team, and I will never have an Arsenal player in my FPL team. But if I absolutely had to, right? Well, let me first go through the list. Aubameyang, you should not have in your team. Everyone touted him. He's not doing what he should be doing, right? He's 100%. He's the fraud. If you want to talk about frauds, he's a fraud. I love it because he frustrates Arsenal fans so much. That's the part that I absolutely love the most.
Okay, I had 3 players. One of them, Hector Bellerin. He's the highest point scorer on that Arsenal side. On that right-hand side, as that wing back in that back 3, he's gotten a lot of joy. Scored 3. He scored 1 goal, assisted in 3. He's a much better prospect to Tierney, and he's actually, I think he's won 5.1. So I think he's a great one. If you're looking at a centre back, Gabriel, he's an attacking threat up front. Arsenal's clean sheets haven't been the most. Before the Aston Villa game, the defensive record was great. Was the best in the league, and then they conceded 3. But those are the 2 guys that I'm looking at from an Arsenal perspective. I'd say go for Bukayo Saka because he's cheap and he gets a lot of game time, but this team can't score. And we're trying to petition Mikel Arteta, it's gotten to that point, to play on the left-hand side of the front 3 with Aubameyang in the middle.
So you see, interesting you say that though, Paul, because I would have gone Tierney. That's what I was going to get to. I would have gone Tierney as my FPL. Because he's the only one that shows a bit of character in that team.
So if you can play Bukayo Saka up front in the top of that front 3 with a back 4, Tierney's your man. Look at him. But if you're going to play a back 3 and Tierney's the left centre back, you're going to get no joy. I'd rather go get Hector Bellerin on the right, because it seems like the only way we're either going to score is Bellerin crossing the ball into the box and somebody poking it in. But those are
don't go Pepe. Don't go Pepe because he headers the wrong things. So.
And he's got a red card. So if you win, do you have anybody, AB, from an Arsenal perspective that you think we should be at? Willian?
So is it going into my FPL team or my FPL squad? Because I have 2 different answers.
Okay, team first.
Okay, so team first is Dani Ceballos. I think purely because he's the cheapest. I think he's less than 5, and he plays every week. So, if you've got someone who just want 2 to 3 points, maybe you've got Dani Ceballos. He's kind of like your N'Golo Kante sort of player. But if you want someone in terms of FPL, FPL output, if you want someone for your squad, that means you're just trying to balance the books a bit. I think William Saliba, because he's 4.1,
but he doesn't play.
Or Macy. There you go. You've got the cheapest player. There you go. Part of your squad. You can spend your money on real.
You've got guys in your bench that will never play.
No.
Yeah.
No.
I do. I've got one guy that will never play.
Okay,
Well, Tyreek Mitchell for me sometimes doesn't play. So I don't know.
The problem with William Saliba is that he's not going to play up until Jan. He's got some issues with COVID and moving from France. He's not going to start. So what's the point? Rather go get Tyreek Mitchell.
What's the point of having an Arsenal player?
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Well, we'll see what you got from there. Next team, Aston Villa. We know they've got Jack Grealish. We know they've got Ollie Watkins. But let's look beyond Grealish, Watkins, and even John McGinn, because I think John McGinn's a great filler at 5.5. He's a guy who will get some points and some assists, because this team is probably one of the top scoring teams in the Premier League. My pick for Aston Villa was Isaac Konsa, the centre back. He's their second highest points getter after Tyrone Mings, but Konsa's at 4.7, Mings is at 5.4. And he scores goals. He's a threat on the other end. And seemingly Martinez, who should be in your squad as a goalkeeper. What I did, left Arsenal, I put him in because I don't have Arsenal players in my team. But I don't.
Well done.
He's racked up a lot of clean sheets. So Konsa's my guy. I think they've gotten about 3 clean sheets, and he scored 2 over the weekend. So I think Konsa's the guy. People were wondering about him, but yeah, he's my guy.
Nice. That's nice.
For me, I mean, AB mentioned it last week. I'm going in that defense. You're looking at those 2 wing backs, and you're either going Target or Cash. Those are the. I've got Target in my team.
I think it's cheaper.
I don't have Martinez. Yeah. Target's cheaper from an FPL perspective, so I would look at Target. But Martinez, I think there was reason to get Martinez when he was at 4.5. He's now at like 4.8 or 4.9 or whatever it is. I don't think he's a go-to now. If you had him already, keep him. He's going to do well. If you don't have him, I think look elsewhere. So, yeah, I mean, the Grealishes and the Watkins, I mean, they're just owned by so many people at the moment, so there's no point there. But I think that defense is really untapped. So I think, Sorry, I know AB's probably going to say exactly the same thing. So luckily,
I have nothing to say. I'm gonna Jose Mourinho this, and I have nothing to say. What
about John McGinn as the and Ross Barkley as other options in that Villa side?
Okay, so I think Barkley's got a hamstring injury now. We don't know what that is, so I wouldn't touch Barkley. Although if he was fit, it's a great option. I think he's about 6 mil. John McGinn's interesting because like last season, before Barkley was there, he was. I mean, Sir Alex Ferguson told someone to sign him because Ferguson loves his Scots. I don't know. That's what I heard. But yeah, I mean, John McGinn, he's got a nice left foot. He might take the set piece here or there when Grealish doesn't want to. I don't know. Interesting option, but 5.5. I think
he's my guy. I think.
Yeah.
But and then to some extent,
I think Alain Saint-Maximin is also 5.5. If I could be mistaken.
I think he is.
So that is expensive. Yeah, I don't know, but it's a very interesting. I think John McGinn would be a sort of a wild card. Well, not a wild card in FPL terms, but like a dark horse, just to a differential. That's the word.
Differential. I was waiting for you to get there. I was just waiting.
Okay, the next team I think is a fun team.
Guys.
Got Tariq Lamptey. Brighton, Hove and Albion.
Lallana.
I don't want to.
Lallana.
Yes.
Get in Lallana. Just get him in your team.
Danny Welbeck has
That's one to discuss.
All over the past 2 weeks. He's averaging 6 points per week. So playing for 20 more weeks, you could be on something. But very good goal for Danny Welbeck this weekend. My guy was Solly March. I really like the way he plays. For me it was a toss up between Trossard and March, but I feel as though between the two of them, you can, I think, pick one. I went with Solly March. I went with Trossard earlier on in the season in a couple of my drafts, but I think now Solly March is coming into his own. That's the guy. He scored 2 goals, 1 assist, but he's winning a lot on the bonus points side as well. So whenever Brighton play well, it's either Lamptey, Solly March, or Trossard, and maybe Neil Maupay scoring the goals. So you have like an axis of 4 players of Brighton that you could necessarily choose from.
Yeah, for me. Oh, okay, you go,
Well,
AB.
Dean, you can go because AB's acting Jose Mourinho on us.
So my go-to for Brighton, and he's the only guy I have, is Matt Ryan.
We're the same team.
And that's and it's literally just because he's always going to start. He's 4.5, and the man is a good goalkeeper. He can, he makes saves. He's really solid. So like Brighton, they are going to let in goals, 100%. But from an FPL perspective, you can't see a better asset than Matt Ryan in that Brighton team. I think Lamptey, again, I'll say the same thing I said about Martinez. If you got Lamptey when he was 4.5, great. If you get him now, I think there's better options.
And he's got a red card, so that kind of hurt.
And he's got a red card. And exactly what we've said before, Lamptey is a great player, like you can see. And he is getting up that thing, but I think it was Wahid that said from an FPL perspective, probably not the best. But it's also only a matter of time before you can see him actually getting those FPL points because, the kid's just so good. So if you've got him, keep him. If you don't have him, leave him alone.
I'm just waiting for the day that they promote Tariq Lamptey up the wing and tell him he doesn't have to defend anymore and he becomes the right winger. That's essentially what we're waiting for. Because the man is just incredible. AB, your Brighton is Matt Ryan again. Anybody else? Neil Maupay? I don't like Neil Maupay.
Look, I've got Neil Maupay in my fantasy draft team, or did I have him? I can't remember. But I think I got him before United were playing them because, we were just shocked.
En route to a 16-goal season, and he's probably one of those other guys outside of necessarily a Bamford. He's slightly costly. I think he's at a 6.5.
It's expensive.
At 6.5, which is quite expensive. But if you've gotten that range of striker, it's essentially between him and like a Callum Wilson, and even like a Wilson Antonio. Antonio's injured now. He's not scoring.
Or someone we're about to talk about Chris Wood potentially from the Burnley side. Same sort of WhatsApp group.
Look, let's do this. Let's go to Burnley, and you tell me, give me a case to put in a Burnley striker.
He scored on the weekend. You would have got so many points.
I would think. So in Burnley,
we don't know.
the only person I can look to because the centre backs are no longer available. There used to be such value, but now they're just nothing. Is the goalkeeper? But like I'm trying to figure out a way. Maybe I go. This team can't. It's not creative enough. Like there's nothing I can do. Like I look at the wide players. I'm like, okay, Westwood and Taylor on the left. I'm like, what are you guys going to give me?
Nothing.
like Sean Dyche. Like, dude, I feel sorry for you. Like. I don't even think the Burnley players have themselves in their team, except for Nick Pope. You look at the four guys in front of them and be like, I'm going to be conceding and I've got nothing to do about it.
But also, you cannot go and spend more than 5 million or 4.5 million on a keeper or a centre-back because then you will spend your whole weekend watching the TV and praying to God that they do not concede.
And just shaking.
And that is not a fun weekend. I can't. At least, if you're going into this weekend just to get 2 points from your back, it should be a back four. If you're not playing with the back, including the goalkeeper, then you're wasting your time. I can't. I cannot put myself to do it. It's no guys, not about that life.
No, but okay, so let's do this. Okay, fine. Maybe there's some Burnley fans who are watching this, and they want to put in.
Identify yourself, please.
Get Chris Wood. Chris Wood and Harrison, and I'm calling him Harrison Barnes. Harrison Barnes.
Ashley Barnes.
Yes.
They used to be very good mid-table, mid-tier from a striking value. When you knew that your one striker is coming up against the Man City and he's 6.5, take him out, put in a Chris Wood. You kind of hope that Sean Dyche turns this around. It's the first week after the international break. They won again. They scored. Did they win? Yes, they ended up winning. I'm not even going to ask questions. But they scored. maybe this is the turn that they're going to turn the corner. Now they're fighting to get out of relegation. So you might get some points there, especially from teams that are trying to get out of relegation very early. So if Burnley ship around,
they've got cuck games ahead. They've got City, Everton. Okay, Arsenal they could get points against.
Look, City look a shadow of themselves. Everton, we don't know what's going on unless Richarlison's playing. Arsenal, we know Arsenal were held by Leeds. Like, dude, Marcelo Bielsa.
Watch Chris Wood score a hat-trick against Arsenal. Watch it.
No, but that's the type of team that beats Arsenal. Tall men in the box. Yeah, but
and they just go. Yeah.
So look, there's always value. Just find a spot where Burnley have easy games. Sheffield. Those type of games to kind of get yourself in, but I wouldn't even trust them against the Sheffield. Last of the 5, Chelsea. We're going to talk about this a little bit more.
This is tough.
This is insane.
So in my team, I've got the right back. I didn't take the left back because I was trying to look for a differential. He's 7 points behind Ben Chilwell. I've got James there. Largely because they played Aspilicueta the one game, and I was like, dude, what are you doing? But he incredibly well, and he's cheaper than Ben Chilwell. Kurt Zuma is someone that I'm starting to consider as maybe the one centre back. He's 5.4, but he's the highest points getter at Chelsea.
But he cannot defend. It is insane. Yeah, he's getting points. But
that's the thing. I don't know. This kid just pops up from places and he just scores goals, and you're like, where did you come from?
He wins more headers in the opposition box than his own, and I don't understand.
Yeah. And the great thing about Kurt Zuma and that Chelsea back four is that you can ride the whole Mendy clean sheet way in the thing. So for me, those are, and obviously goalkeeping, because we're talking goalkeepers. Mendy, but I think he's over 5. So
no, don't touch it. That's expensive.
Anybody else, guys? Attacking wise, Ziyech is a golden boy, probably. I don't know.
So I'm gonna go on a limb here, and I'm gonna say Tammy Abraham.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I was literally gonna say Tammy.
Tell me about Tammy Abraham at 7.2, by the way, mind you. So
that is, I think that is a. And also, he's owned by like 2% of people. So I think Frank is now realizing, you know what, Tammy's got something. And we saw this from Tammy last season. Tammy was good value. Yeah. He scored, I don't know how many goals, but he can head the ball, which is something Werner can't do, and he can tap it in, which is something Werner can't do. Werner's good at driving at those defenses, running in behind. Werner is perfect for me. I know we discussed that he should be playing through the middle, but we've seen of late maybe that's not his best position. I think Tammy is your designated number 9, your poacher, the guy who's going to score those ugly goals. Put Tammy in. But then we don't know about Frank. What is Frank going to do? Frank could put Mason Mount ahead of Tammy. I don't know.
Who do you take out of your current FPL team to put Tammy Abraham in?
Well, some people still own Raul Jimenez or DCL. Yeah.
If you're looking for a differential, you get rid of Dominic and you put Tammy in.
Which is hectic.
Guys, when do we let Dominic go? When do you let Dominic go?
When Richarlison's injured. Simple.
He's playing Leeds at home, Burnley away. You keep DCL. Surely you keep
DCL now. But I'm saying, if you need something that you like at the bottom of the league and you need something different, you go Tammy, because I don't look at Werner's performance over the weekend. Chelsea won. They were good, right? Yeah. But from an FPL perspective, and if I own Werner, which fine, I don't, but he is probably the most frustrating person to watch from an FPL perspective, because that man should be scoring hat-tricks week in and week out with the chances he gets. And it's almost like Bamford. Bamford should have scored so many goals against Arsenal. You own the man and he scores nothing. Same with Werner.
And he hit the post. I'm owning a man who I want to score, but I'm wanting to miss.
Exactly. So I think Tammy, exactly what AB said. Tammy, I think Frank has got his squad nailed down, which is he tried so many different things, which I think United should do going forward now. But Frank has found his people. Tammy's gonna play. You can see he's gonna play. He's gonna have Werner up the left. And and he's going to score goals. Chilwell putting on those crosses, someone's going to get a head to it, and it's going to be Tammy. From a Chelsea perspective, you should have Ziyech in your team. We've spoken.
Yes, if you don't,
if you don't, go and get it. Go and get him in your team. But if you are looking for someone, 100% agree, it's Tammy.
Yeah. And also, Tammy's got that Giroud type of effect. Remember Giroud at Arsenal for the last, I think, couple of years when Lacazette played? He'd come on as a sub and he'd score that late goal. And that's what he did at Chelsea last year. And even if Tammy's not starting, which it might happen. So there'll be games, I think, against top 4 teams where he'll probably start off the bench. So be prepared for that. But even when he comes on...
But he can still come on and score. Yeah.
Yes. He's one of the, he's the guy you put on to score goals. So those are the 5 teams that we've covered, everyone, in 20 minutes. Great. Any final words? Lastly, this week, captaincy options, guys. AB, who are you thinking of captaining?
I don't know, guys. It's tough. Is Salah back?
I want to hear you captaining so I can know who to not captain. Because I need to catch up to you.
So this week, you've got
Dean's
this
catching
week,
up.
game week. This week game week: Crystal Palace, Newcastle, Brighton, Liverpool, Man City, Burnley, Everton, Leeds,
Chelsea Spurs is the big one.
Southampton, Manchester United, go Bruno. Chelsea, Tottenham, Arsenal, Wolves. Oh my lord. Leicester and West Ham, Aston Villa. Is there a Jack Grealish at the back end of a game week?
You see, the problem here is West Ham have done well at home, so Grealish, he also didn't do too well last week. Chelsea Spurs, you can't really go and captain anyone there because that's a big
one
call.
here. There's an easy one here from Jamie Vardy. Yeah, Jamie Vardy against Fulham.
Yeah, because not many people have Jamie Vardy. That's the problem. We have to do deals.
Do you have Jamie Vardy on board?
Yeah, I do.
Okay.
Oh, no. Yeah. What if Dean doesn't know?
That's why I'm at the bottom. Like, it was Jamie Vardy was the party, and I'm not partying.
If Salah comes back, we've got a captain. And I think he should come back. Yeah.
Apparently, he will come back. Apparently, he's tested negative the whole week.
Yes.
But
there we go.
No, but here's the stat about Leicester. Leicester have received the most penalties this season at 7. So just like the Man United argument of last season, we keep on getting fouled in the box. Jamie Vardy's the guy getting fouled in the box. So I need to get a penalty lock there. Then another sneaky one is Bruno against Southampton, but Southampton are a very good side. So I'm not sure if you're going to get all there. The other one Yes.
I would honestly go Dominic Calvert-Lewin against Leeds. Because
I'm saying,
if you look at Leeds, Leeds played really well against Arsenal and they didn't score a goal. But against any other team, they would have got punished at the back. Okay.
Yes, they would.
And Richarlison's back, Deeney's back, Calvert-Lewin's going to score. So that is another option. It is Everton at home against Leeds. You kind of would go, you learned your lesson over the weekend if you didn't captain Dominic Calvert-Lewin, which I didn't. 2 goals. They did play Fulham, easier opposition, but I think that has to be thrown into the mix. Fernandes against Southampton, probably 95% of FPL is going to go in.
So what about Son? Because many people were very angry were angry that they didn't captain Son against Manchester City. What do you think Son's going to do against Chelsea this weekend? Is that a differential captaincy option that's going to happen?
It definitely is. Okay, so here's my thing. A lot of people sold Son and Kane, or just one of them, and I'm laughing at you guys now. I'm laughing at anyone that sold Son and Kane because that is the stupidest FPL decision you could ever have made. Son loves scoring against Chelsea, so there's definite reason to why you want to captain him. The only thing is that Chelsea defense is looking really good, and that Chelsea-Tottenham game is going to be, from a Spurs perspective, it's probably the scariest game we've played this season so far. So if you're looking for a differential, agree with you. Go Son. If you're looking for an easy option, go something else. But yeah, Son or Kane, to be honest, because Kane can also cause some damage over there. So it would be interesting.
That is true. Okay. Thanks, gents. Thank you very much for your picks and for joining the show. Wahid and Cyrus, we do miss you, but we'll have you next week.
Let's hope Wahid watches this one.
But thank you very much, guys. Really have a great weekend. Enjoy the football that's on offer. That Chelsea-Tottenham game on Saturday night is going to be very tasty. And if you want to watch men cry, watch Arsenal versus Wolves and just have your Twitter feed up there with you, and you'll have a great time as well. From myself and AB, do make sure that you like, subscribe, share as widely as possible. And yeah, have a great weekend. And from the three of us, Sale Kakahiso.